What's up guys, it's Project, and today we're going to be talking about the first mobile game I'll be covering on this channel, Epic 7. I've been addicted to this game so far, and the main initial attraction was its beautiful art style and animations, as well as good character design overall. Seriously, the game is aesthetically pleasing. It's also fairly new, having released earlier this month for global regions. But perhaps the most unique thing that hooked me was a pretty revolutionary concept for the gacha market, selective summons. You gain access to this after beating 1-10 in the first region, but basically you get 30 chances at getting a 5-star hero within 10 summons per chance. So you summon 10 times, and that counts as one of the 30 rolls you get. If you land a roll you like, you simply keep that roll and you get all the stuff and characters you summoned within that specific roll. If not, you discard all of that roll and roll again. This is huge, as you basically have 300 free summons without having to reroll an account or spend a dime. The only catch is you can only get one 5-star per roll. But I mean, come on, you're surely to get some juicy rolls containing good characters. So most people are trying for either a top tier 5-star like Sigrid or Destina, or you're trying for 2 to 3 really good 4-stars in a single roll. Of course, you can go my route and just stick with a solid 5-star like Ravi for waifu purposes. It's not perfect, as you still can't outright choose a certain character you want, but it's one step in the right direction. As far as I know, this is also the only 30 selective you get in the game, so choose carefully. If your summons were a bust, then hey, the game comes with a built-in account reset feature, allowing you to start over without having to re-download patches or clear your data. My only gripe with this is that sure, you can reset your account and start from scratch, but you still gotta go through the long-ass intro with unskippable cutscenes and no tutorial skip, and you can't choose the same nickname you chose before, hence now I'm stuck with this shit nickname after resetting so many times for a 5-star Destina in 1-4 summons and running out of name ideas and so forth. So it ends up being one step forward, 2 steps back kind of. But hey, at least you don't have to delete your data and re-download patches, I guess, if you are mobile anyways. I play on Nox Player emulator, so it honestly is less impressive to me. But pick it up, try it out. The art and animation is amazing, the end game can be fairly challenging, and it gets hella grindy post game, but it's got waifus, it's got husbandos, and it's got deviant art furries. Anyways, let's get into the main topic of the video with some beginner tips for all y'all new players to maximize your experience. First up, I mentioned rolling with the 30 selectives, but you actually get enough Covenant bookmarks to summon around 7 to 8 times leading up to 1-10. So if you really wanted to maximize your count, then the best strat would be to land a 5-star like Cecilia within those first 7 to 8 tries after beating 1-4. If you're not lucky, then you reset the account and try again like you normally would in any other gacha game. For Nox Player users though, you can create multiple instances, which allows you to have a main and multiple sub-accounts. You can even reroll like 3 or more instances at once to vastly speed up the chances of landing a good account. There's videos on YouTube explaining that stuff, go check it out as it's too detailed to explain in this video. One thing I have to point out, however, is the banners are actually worse to summon in if you're looking for the non-banner heroes like Haste or Euphine. As you can see here, these are the rates for Destina and Cecilia banner. Now look at the normal Covenant summon. The banner's 5-star summon rate, with the exception of the cover hero, are less than half of that of the normal Covenant summon. So unless you're absolutely aiming for the banner hero, you're better off summoning with the normal Covenant summon instead. 4 stars are also higher for normal Covenant summon. Also worth to note that Cecilia is the only hero you can't summon in the other methods besides her banner. Meanwhile, Destina and Vildred can be obtained in all summons, even the 30 selected. For brand new players, save your stamina. That is the horse chest piece you get from daily events or buy with friendship points. Do not collect them from your mailbox until you're absolutely out of stamina or they're about to expire. They stay in the mailbox for 7 days or so when you first get them. The reason for this is early on you'll be ranking up fast, which resets your stamina to its max. If you use the horses, however, it'll overcap and won't recover or gain the stamina you would have if you were under max stamina. Stamina is also much more precious late game when farming hunts or catalysts or runes. Use the yield button. Early on this is less important, but later on if your team is about to be wiped out, simply pause, then yield. This will force you back out of the stage and return the energy or labyrinth key, or whatever you spent, back to you. You have to redo the stage, but at least you don't have to pay more energy to retry if you fail without using yield. And from my testing, drops seem to be fixed per instance until cleared or failed, so if anything important is found, you should be able to find it again after yielding and retrying the stage, since yielding counts as neither. Make sure to pay attention to each stage's star requirements. Stars give you crystals, so you want to make sure to get 3 stars on every stage, which also goes towards your region reward, which further gets you more rewards. Getting 48 stars in Urzera gets you 50 crystals, which is half a summon, so definitely pay attention to it. Like many gachas or RPGs in general, you'll want a varied team with characters excelling at certain roles. As much as you would want a team full of waifus, unless they're all good, you're going to need to hit certain benchmarks to be able to do the hard content of the game smoothly. So it's advised that you get a buffer, someone that can buff the team up with defense or attack up, you want a dedicated healer or someone to rid of debuffs, then a main DPS unit with high single target skill, and lastly a sub DPS unit that has some AoE to them or has debuffs. That way you can pick off monsters on low health without wasting your entire turn hitting something on like 2 HP left. Speaking of team, your leader gets hit more often, so make sure to swap your tank as your leader, or at the very least your highest level character. Don't be that guy putting Sez as the lead. You get experience points after clearing a stage, which means you can power level low level characters while taking on the highest stage you can. You can also tag those characters out for a supporter once you're in battle so they're not holding you back. Should go without saying if you're familiar with games like this, but make sure to do PvP and join a guild. You usually get a lot of extra goodies for doing so, like EXP buffs activated by your guild, or getting constant crystals weekly for ranking up and achieving certain ranks in PvP. PvP isn't against actual players, but against an AI using their team, so you don't have to deal with long wait times or wonky connections. The game resets at 5 AM Eastern Time, 2 AM Pacific. It sucks, but it's the earliest you can get your login reward, daily free summon, and when new events and stuff come out. When in the labyrinth, you can actually warp to certain points that you've already visited by spending some morale, specifically to the orange exits or waypoints that you've encountered before. This also works in the story missions that have multiple routes, so this saves a ton of time if you're trying to reach a point where you left off without grinding all the way from the start. Save your crystals. This is why I hammered the point of re-rolling early on hard, because honestly the normal gacha system is pretty depressing for free-to-play players, without much reward back to you for even trying. To go from a game like Knight's Chronicle, where you get rewards for summoning every so times, and can even guarantee getting the banner hero after spending enough crystals, to go from that to this game where you literally get nothing, and the drop rates for 5 stars are less than 1%, it's rough, I'm not gonna lie. Sure, there's worse rates in other games, but in my opinion, Knight's Chronicle set a standard for gacha summoning, so this game not adopting that is a bit of a shame considering most of the other elements are great. The background is me blowing my load and getting literally nothing, which is why my side account is now my main account. I suppose if you made an account for every banner added, then you can essentially get all the heroes, just spread out on different accounts, but that's a bit extreme. They did mention something about a pity system added in the future, hence I recommend just saving your crystals past 1-10 until they add that, or they release a provably broken character to spend all your crystals to try to get. Destina is very much worth it to try it on, but it's no longer available, and you can get her in the 30 selective anyways. Whereas new characters added from this point on won't be obtainable in the 30 summons, like Cecilia, thus being way harder to get for new players unless you whale, or, like I said, save your crystals for the banner. Just going through all of story is gonna net you over 6,000 crystals easily, which you can buy 6 bookmark bundles, which is around 60 summons worth. If you plan to spend money, then I suppose do what you want when going down a rabbit hole, but you do get a free standard summon every day, so use that to get characters over time for the time being. For people wondering about Sanctuary, I recommend maxing Middle Forest to 3 first and foremost, so you can have 3 slots to raise phantasms with, which you'll mainly be using those to promote your heroes to higher star tiers later. It's also where you can raise Mologora to enhance your hero's skills. For the other ones, Get at least one of each of the high commands so you can dispatch and get various rewards on top of leveling your characters on the side, the arena one being the best one to get. Max out the middle and right steel workshop for farming top tier gear later on in the game. And lastly, I've heard people say to do the same for Heart of Orbis to get about half a summon's worth of crystals a day, depending on your luck. And lastly, before getting into some hero suggestions, save your duplicate heroes you get and use them to enhance the same character, which unlocks a new unique passive that will usually buff all your other teammates with simple things like more defense, more attack, and more health. This is where whales will gain the advantage in PvP, unfortunately. So to wrap up the video, here are some hero suggestions to aim for when rerolling. These are all generally well regarded at being useful in PvE and or PvP. And yes, while 3 stars are useful and some can even be better than 5 stars, this is still a gacha game. You want to aim for the rarest characters first and foremost, as they're harder to get and are generally cooler. So these suggestions are going to be 5 stars and 4 stars only. First up is Sez. While not a great single target unit, he's hands down the best AoE attacker in the game. So if you want an easy story experience, he's the one to aim for. His skill 1 makes him attack with an additional AoE hit when hitting an enemy below 50% HP, which is obviously great in clearing stages fast. People can say he's an overused meme, but farming for catalysts requires clearing stages, and units like Sez, Vildred, and Clarissa are masters of AoE clear to clear stages fast. Next up is Destina, the best healer in the game. She's hella tanky, her S3 heals the entire party for a crap ton and rids of debuffs. Definitely worth trying for. A runner-up 4-star healer is Acades and Angelica, both great healers with extra benefits but no debuff removal. Haste is a great offensive unit, excelling at single target and can also debuff the enemy as well as recover health. He's a strong contender in PvP. Cigarette is a sexy gal that's quite scary in PvP and very strong against bosses with bleed stacks. Isaria is super strong in PvP due to her turn manipulation and defense down, the most broken debuff in the game. Have her do skill 3 for defense down, then later use skill 2 on a slow but strong attacker and watch the enemy become Thanos' victim. Silk is a great 4-star hero that's given for free from doing her quest, but essentially she's a monster due to her fast speed and decreasing enemy speed, which is major in PvP, definitely worth investing into. Sid is another great 4-star character that gets crazy in PvP. Like Silk, he's a fast character and has turn manipulation, but only for his advantage. Armin, yet another 4-star, is a powerful tank, probably one of the best in the game, and she's also kawaii. Make sure to give her lots of earrings. And lastly is Crow. He's insane, top tier, one of the best. If you get him, you're done. So yeah, those are probably the better heroes to aim for. Like I said, 3 stars can also have a place. One of the most broken ones being Tyria and Elson, practically used in all the top PvP teams. They're hands down the best buffers in the game, but they're likely to get nerfed in the future. Also, if you only get one good 5-star, don't fret, that's what the helper system is for. Make use of it to get heroes that can amplify your team. If you get Destina but don't have a good offensive unit, you can always use Sez or Haste or Kiris from the helper system, at least from story. And vice versa if you need a healer to complement your DPS units. So that's the video. Thank you guys for watching again. Try the game out and hopefully these tips will help you along your adventure. Hitting that like button helps the video out, and maybe consider subscribing and clicking that bell to not miss any potential videos from me in the future. I'm definitely enjoying the game and will likely make more videos about it as I get further into the game. May your gacha pools be blessed. See you next time for more Epic 7 epicness.